Hello. In this video, we're going to cover the paint bucket and the tape measure tools. So let's begin. So we'll begin by drawing a 3D object. You can draw a box, you can draw a cylinder, and okay, so first things, we'll start with the paint bucket tool. Hotkey is the letter B. And you'll notice the paint bucket tool has these several different tabs here. I like this tab. This is the materials tab. And you'll notice all these different cool things you can draw on there or paint on there. You also got crayons. You got all the colors of the rainbow. You got your red, green, blue, whatever that means, and a couple other ways that you can select different colors from your SketchUp environment. So if you like this greenish color, you can now camouflage your objects with the paint bucket tool. And if you recall from the select grouping and components video, we had all with the same layer. And you'll see that it selects all the faces with the same colored face. And that works true too for vegetation. So if you want to change all the colors of all of them at once, it's a pretty cool thing that is available on SketchUp. Don't have to paint them all one at a time. Okay, let's choose something that's a little bit easier to see. Let's see. I'm just going to go with something here. There we go. Actually, one last thing. Hold on. So if they all have the same color, instead of doing select all, you can just do, you can hold down shift and it'll paint all those surfaces as well. Okay, so tape measure tool. Hotkey is the letter T. When we work off of a reference point that is familiar, so from an endpoint to another point, we get something called a guide point. Now, if we come from any other point, we get guide lines. So you notice we get guide points. Now, if I go from this endpoint to this endpoint, we get a guide line. If I go from the midpoint, and even if I go to the center here, we still get this big, huge, long line, which can come in handy. You know, for whatever reason, we may want to line things up along this this reference line. What are some of the uses? Well, it could be many things. For an example, I use the tape measure tool to create guide points to figure out different ways I could cut a piece of plywood for a particular project I was working on. So just one example, but that's the main thing. It's just endpoints and guide points, and from guide points you get more guide points. But anytime you start from a random area, you're going to get these guide lines. We may not be so interested where the starting point is. We just want it to be so many inches or feet away from that edge. So those are the key things about the tape measure tool. I've used it many times. Sometimes I just use it to measure things. I forget my measurements all the time. So that's it. Go paint stuff and measure things. Later.